Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at some of the most legendary guitar fails from over the years, and we're going to discuss some positive lessons that we can take away from them. I do want to make a disclaimer here. The point of this video is not to rip on these guys and embarrass them. They've kind of already done that themselves, and there are plenty of videos that already do that, but rather to think about how sometimes we as musicians can find very valuable lessons in the strangest of places. Before we get into it, I'll quickly let you know that a great way that you can avoid finding yourself creating a legendary guitar blunder is making sure you invest in the right resources. A couple years ago, I decided to make the resources that I wish I had when I was learning music over at my course platform, samuraiGuitarTheory.com. There, I have 4 courses that break down the system I use for making music from the ground up. My courses, The Rudiments and Beyond the Basics, look at theory starting at the basic building blocks up to more advanced topics. My newest course, The Craft of Soloing, is designed to show you how to take this information and translate it into music. If you find yourself playing notes instead of creating an artistic expression with your solos, this will change that for you. Each course is professionally animated and contains supplementary material to make the tough stuff easy to understand. For a limited time, everything over there is 50% off when you use promo code HOLIDAY21 at checkout. You can find more information at samuraiGuitarTheory.com. I'll also put up links in the description. Anyways, let's get to those guitar fails. To kick things off, we have a solo played by Nick Jonas at some country music award show a couple years ago. It's already been memed to oblivion, but if you haven't seen it, let's take a short watch. Okay, so clearly he's having a bit of a struggle here. What I suspect happened was that he quickly worked out a solo beforehand, but when it came time to perform it, everything fell apart. I've actually seen this type of thing happen a number of times and have even had it happen to myself. You're able to play something really quite well when you're in, I don't know, your bedroom or wherever, but as soon as you get out of your comfort zone, it's a certified disaster. There are 2 ways to negate this. First of all, you put yourself in so many of these types of situations that it seems as normal as sitting in your practice room. The second way is to remember this little proverb. One should not practice to the point where one plays something right, but rather one should practice to the point where they can't play it wrong. You want something to just be so easy to you. Say this is your threshold of difficulty, and that thing you're practicing, you want to get it so it's down here, so that when you're in a stressful situation, like a performance, and your threshold drops, you're still coming in way below and you can nail that part. Now, besides all that stuff, there's actually an exercise that I quite like to do with something that doesn't traditionally sound all that great, like Nick Jonas' solo, for example. I'll try and figure out chords that I can put underneath a weird or random sounding melody that would actually make it sound good. It's kind of like a music theory puzzle that gets you thinking about advanced harmony. Let me try it out for you. I'm going to recreate the solo note for note, but underneath I'm going to put new chords that will hopefully make it sound somewhat decent. Here we go. Next up, we've got rapper Lil Wayne's infamous 2-note solo that he played a couple years ago. Take a listen. It is really quite hurting. I mean, you gotta respect the fact that he's trying, but let's be honest, it's not very good. However, there is a great exercise that we can derive from this. What you want to do is take a backing track and solo over top of it using only 2 notes, just like our buddy Lil Wayne over here. What that does is it forces you way out of your comfort zone and gets you thinking in new ways, which is always great for musical development. If I'm doing the Lil Wayne exercise, I'm really going to need to focus on the rhythmic side of things to create anything remotely interesting. Let me give it a try. So it still doesn't sound all that good, but the idea is that when you go and remove that restriction, you can take that rhythmic principle that you just worked on and apply it to your normal solos. For example, I'm going to take the rhythms that I just played, but now instead of limiting myself to only 2 notes, I'm going to play as many as I want. Guitarists often don't spend a ton of time thinking about how to generate musical themes rhythmically. But when I approached soloing more like a percussionist, I ended up playing something that I never would normally play, and I actually quite enjoyed it. Moving on to the next legendary guitar fail, we have the proclaimed angriest guitarist in the world. Let's take a walk, shall we?
Oh, that's it. That's it.
The lesson with this video is don't practice like this fellow. He's doing the opposite of what you should be doing. Our angry guitarist here has got a part that he's struggling with, and he's just barging at it over and over and over again, hoping that magically he'll get it right. This is so inefficient and demoralizing. Whatever it is you're practicing, you need to break it down into manageable pieces. So if I'm the angriest guitarist here, what I would first do is isolate the part that's giving me problems. If I can play the whole first section of the song perfectly, and then I always screw it up right here, it makes no sense for me to keep practicing this part over and over again if I already do it well. What I need to do is put a microscope on this part. Once I've isolated the problem, I pull out my trusty metronome, and what I want to do is figure out where my threshold is. What speed can I actually play this part perfectly? I'll start off by setting it fairly slow. Let's try 100 beats per minute to start. Okay, that's not a problem. Now I'm going to try to go a little faster. Let's try 110 and see what happens there. Uh-oh, 110 beats per minute is clearly a problem, but it is a solvable one that does not require a barrage of swears. What I want to do now is leave my metronome at this tempo and play this part over and over and over again until I can play it perfectly. If I need to, I can even go a bit slower. And once I've nailed this part at 110 beats per minute, I would then put up my metronome bit by bit until I again hit my threshold, repeat everything until you've reached your desired speed. This is by far the most efficient way to actively improve, and you should be thinking about this and how you can bring this concept to all areas of your practice. Next up is a guitar fail that hits especially close to home, because it's my greatest guitar fail. And fortunately for me, there is no video evidence of it. When I was in grade 9, I'd been playing guitar for about a year, and I went to audition for this thing that my school did, which was called the Rock Show. There were a small handful of songs that I could kind of play. One of them was the main riff from TNT by AC/DC. So I went into my audition, and I swear I played that riff for like 3 minutes. Imagine hearing this over and over and over again. After what I'm sure was a painfully long amount of time, the instructor eventually cut me off. He asked me if I could play an E chord, which I could, D chord, A chord, and then he asked me if I could play bar chords. This is where everything fell apart because I had never heard of these bar chords. So I took a guess and played a power chord. Try again, the instructor said. I played an open E chord again, head shake, and then I distinctly remember just hitting an open G string. Now, shockingly, I did actually end up getting a part in the show playing the song Gloria by the band Them, which just so happens to be the chords E, D, and A repeated over and over again. Here's what we can learn from my unfortunate experience. First of all, if there is a problem in your guitar playing, like bar chords were for me, that you keep on butting up against, you absolutely cannot hide from them. You need to face them head on. Back when I was in grade 9, after my audition, I went home and looked up what bar chords were and then just forced my little 14-year-old hands to play them until I could. The second valuable lesson that I learned is that you should do your homework as to what's expected in an audition. I just went in and played TNT, not knowing any better, but had I talked to my guitar instructor at the time about what I should prepare for, he certainly would have helped me and it would have gone way better. The third lesson here is that if you present yourself well and just be somewhat likable, sometimes, not always, but sometimes people will just do you a favor. The teacher would have been well justified not to give me a part in the show, but him and I had a pretty good relationship beforehand, and I guess he saw that I had a budding passion for music, so he let me play rhythm guitar in the easiest song in the whole show. And last for today is the most recent of these guitar blunders. Social media has certainly taken its fair number of shots at this one, but what we have here is DJ Khaled, who I guess was gifted a guitar from Bob Marley's family, and then he proceeds to play this. What I just love about this video is the sheer confidence of this lad. He's clearly never made any effort to play the guitar, but here he is just full on going for it. I think the biggest lesson here, and this is something that I found myself thinking a lot about lately, is that at some point in your musical journey, you just have to embrace your limitations, know who you are, know what you do, and have fun with that. Most of you guys have heard me play, you know what I can do. It's not getting a whole lot better than that from here on out. I know that I will never be able to play like some of those social media phenoms out there, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I can play things that I really quite enjoy. And the period of time in my life where I can devote full-time hours into becoming a better musician has closed. So from now on, I just gotta kind of accept that this is it and see where that leads. DJ Khaled, it would appear, has also embraced this mindset. He knows he's not a guitar player and likely never will be, but he's mashing that thing and enjoying himself like he is. Now with this lesson, I want to be very clear. You want to embrace this mindset, I don't know, maybe 20 years into your guitar development, not 20 seconds into it, like DJ here. But hey, it was quite hard finding a positive in this performance, and that's what I could come up with. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Valuable lessons that we can learn from guitar fails. Remember, I've got a sale going on over at my course platform, samuraiguitartheory.com. Everything over there is 50% off when you use promo code HOLIDAY21 at checkout. Thank you all for watching, and an extra big thank you to everyone who supports my channel through Patreon. If you want to check out another video like this one, hit that link up there. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for a wide range of musical content. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after each other, look after the planet. I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I'll see you again soon.